Once upon a time, there was a woman named Clara. Claire was a successful professional known for her intelligence and strong work ethic. She was always busy, moving from one task to another, driven by a strong desire to succeed. However, despite her accomplishments, she felt restlessness, a nagging sensation that something was missing. Claire's life was meticulously organized, with each day planned down to the minute. But beneath her polished exterior, she often experienced a sense of unease, as if there was another side of her trying to break free. A side that she kept buried under layers of responsibility and routine. She was aware of it, but chose to ignore it, convincing herself that it was just the price she had to pay for success. One evening, after an exhausting day at work, Claire returned to her apartment. She was tired, but unable to sleep. Sitting on the edge of her bed, she stared at her reflection in the mirror across the room. Her usually composed and confident face looked tired and worn, her eyes dull with fatigue. She sighed deeply, wondering when she had last felt truly at peace. As she continued to gaze into the mirror, something strange happened. Her reflection seemed to shift ever so slightly, as if the person staring back at her wasn't quite the same. Claire blinked and rubbed her eyes, but the feeling persisted. It was as if her reflection was trying to tell her something, to communicate a message that words could not express. She shook her head, dismissing it as a trick of the light or her tired mind playing games. But that night, as she lay in bed, she couldn't shake the feeling that something within her was trying to speak, to be heard. Over the next few days, Clara noticed more subtle yet persistent signs. At work, her thoughts would drift to memories of a time when she was happier and more carefree. She found herself daydreaming about a life she had once imagined for herself. A life filled with creativity, adventure, and passion. Things she had long since pushed aside in favor of stability and success. Clara initially dismissed these thoughts, considering them distractions that would steer her away from her goals. However, the signs became more pronounced. Each morning at her desk, she felt an unsettling heaviness in her chest, making it hard to focus. Claire also started having vivid dreams in which she felt liberated and purposeful, in contrast to her current life. One dream, in particular, remained with her. She found herself walking through a dense forest, feeling light and unburdened. In a clearing, she encountered a small, clear pond and saw a younger, radiant version of herself reflected in the water. The younger Clara smiled warmly and whispered, "It's time to listen." Upon waking, Clara's heart raced. The message was clear, yet intimidating. She had long ignored the part of herself yearning for something more. She had convinced herself that it was a weakness and a distraction. But now, she couldn't ignore it any longer. In the following weeks, Clara began heeding the signs from within. She spent time in quiet reflection, started journaling, and confronted the feelings she had kept hidden. She realized that the restlessness she felt was her soul's way of telling her that she was not living authentically. Instead of fearing the signs, she began to embrace them as guides towards a more fulfilling life, one not solely focused on achievements, but on living truthfully and completely. As Clara made changes in her life, she reconnected with her love of painting, started taking long walks in the park, and even took a trip to the countryside. These changes brought her a sense of peace and rightness. By integrating both sides of herself, she found a balance that brought true contentment. One evening, as she sat by the window, watching the sunset, Clara smiled to herself. She no longer feared the signs her other side gave her. She understood now that they were messages from her soul, guiding her towards a rich and meaningful life that was truly her own. As the last rays of the sun dipped below the horizon, Clara whispered a quiet thank you to the part of herself that had never given up, that had continued to send signs, waiting patiently for the day she would finally listen. When you are guided by your higher self, you often experience a deep sense of inner peace and clarity, even in chaotic situations. You may also notice more synchronicities, intuitive insights, and a stronger connection to your true purpose. Decisions that used to be difficult become clearer, and you start acting with more authenticity and compassion. Additionally, you may experience increased creativity and a stronger sense of being in the flow of life. Sometimes, when we are pondering a decision, our subconscious or guides can communicate with us through symbols. For example, seeing the same symbol repeatedly, such as an XA, might stand out in your mind like a red illuminated sign in a newspaper or on a bus stop ad. This could be interpreted as a signal to pause or stop. Symbols have a universal connection to the collective unconscious, but are also deeply personal. What feels unlucky to one person may feel fortunate to another. Intuitive nudges or hunches guide us to what is needed next, or what will help us. We have to learn to listen, become aware of them, and follow them. These nudges can be on a spectrum, from a subtle knowing to a strong gut feeling. They can direct us to useful knowledge, tools, and connections, or even warn us to avoid certain people or situations. If we allow our intuitive intelligence to become a trusted friend and ally, which can come with time, faith, and practice, it will really support us to experience our best life. This also enables us to uncover our calling for this lifetime, one intuitive nudge at a time. We have all experienced that gut feeling or little voice telling us not to go there or not to do that. It's an awesome little predictor of truth. Unfortunately, we usually only realize how wonderful it is with hindsight. Then, we catch ourselves saying, "I should have listened to the signs," or "I knew right from the start this was going to happen, and I ignored it." The essence of who we are, often referred to as our higher self or the greater part of our mind, holds the truth we seek. We are all interconnected with the universe, expressing ourselves as humans in this temporary experience. Some may recognize this interconnectedness as God, a higher power, or intuition. It continually communicates with us, sending subtle messages to protect us and remind us to stay present. Subscribe for more life-changing videos. Thank you.